There is nobody that feels stronger about the intelligence community and the CIA than Donald Trump. There is nobody.
And I am so proud to be here, folks, because I love activists. If we're going to take this country back, it's going to be activists that does it. And you're it. Praise God. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I retired, as you all know, in '79, came out, worked the McDonald case. The light bulb went on when I realized evidence lost, stolen, destroyed, altered, etc., etc. Obtained a confession from Alina Stokely, the girl in the floppy hat, who said that he didn't commit the crimes. Dr. McDonald did not commit the crimes. They were committed by my satanic cult group.
In the process, I brought up the subject of the reptile aliens and my belief about the reptile aliens and what the ancient peoples of the ancient world, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Phoenician Canaanites, all the ancient peoples of the world talked about the reptile aliens.
I am Major General Albert Stubblebine. I am retired Army Major General. In my last assignment, my last command, I was responsible for all of the Army's strategic intelligence forces around the world.
If we don't have the tools that we think are necessary to do so.
And you said within the law, and yet you admitted that there were these CIA secret facilities. Okay.
So what? Why is that not within the law?
The head of Amnesty International says secret sites are against international law.
Some of the CIA's most sophisticated and effective spying tools apparently pried open tonight with the help of WikiLeaks. The anti-secrecy group says it's obtained thousands of files, hundreds of millions of lines of code from the CIA's massive hacking operation.
I call myself a recovering CIA officer. I go through CIA Officers Anonymous. But that group is not a 12-step program, it's a 24-step program. The first 12 steps, we learn how to tell the truth again, and that's the hardest part.
John Stockwell is the highest-ranking CIA agent to go public.
I'm not the highest-ranking CIA officer to go public. Highest case officers to go public and endeavor to tell the truth about what the CIA has been up to.
I obtained a copy later on of Pawns in the Game, and this book, Pawns in the Game, which I sold out of on this conference, really explained what has happened in the last 240 or 50 years. In 1773, Adam Weishaupt, a Bavarian, former priest, was commissioned to come up with with goals to take over the world.
WikiLeaks says the documents show the CIA's team of hackers have developed malware to be able to hack into almost any device people use and can remotely control iPhones, iPads, Android devices, taking video from their cameras.
Corrupt the youth through sex and drugs, control the press, create an incident, and then come in and act as the saviors.
When you're a CIA whistleblower, there are some perks to that, believe it or not. For example, I get my mail is open before I get it. It's kind of nice. It's like, well, thank you for that. Somebody's already been in it. My cell phone turns itself on and off, especially when I have these meetings. My wife will tell you, the cell phone will just come on right before we come and do this sort of thing. Well, that's convenient, though. That you could look at that maybe as a perk, couldn't you? If I ever get lost, we travel a lot, and if I ever get lost, there's always someone following me.
The United States still has an open policy of supporting coups and destabilizations and low-intensity conflicts in every corner of the globe, the U.S. doing this through the CIA.
Now, there is also, behind the scenes, a demonic force, whether it's extraterrestrial or what it, but it's definitely a demonic, anti-human operation. And that's why I say I've never been able to get, I've never seen any artist rendering or imagining of this force, because apparently it's something so horrible we can't even conceive of it.
The CIA is not allowed to spy on Americans inside the U.S., but privacy advocates worry other agencies may be using the same tools. WikiLeaks says there's one CIA hacking operation called Weeping Angel that can even tap into an enemy's Samsung Smart TV.
The Bible, the Apostle Paul uses an interesting term when he says that we have a fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and the forces of darkness. He uses the term in Greek, cosmokratoros. Cosmokratoros, or rulers of this world darkness.
We're not just at the 11th hour, we're at the 11th hour 59-minute point in this country constitutionally. I'm sorry to say that we are living under a post-constitutional government in America now, and it's getting worse by the hour. There's a war going on in Washington.
As you all well know, our society is said to be drowning in a sea of drugs, and integral to all of this is the systematic destruction of our environment. And it's my thesis that these subjects interrelate: drug trafficking, the arms race, conventional wars, the destruction of the environment.
Okay, so on September the 11th in 2001, what hit the Pentagon?
I don't know exactly what hit it, but I do know from the photographs that I have analyzed and looked at very, very carefully, it was not an airplane.
What made you believe that?
Well, for one thing, if you looked at the hole that was made in the Pentagon, the nose penetrated far enough so that there should have been wing marks on the walls of the Pentagon. I have been unable to find those wing marks. So where were they?
They can turn my TV into a spying device. What happens when I turn it off?
When you turn it off, it's not actually off. A lot of people remember the little red light. Right. That means there's still a computer in there, and it's listening for the remote to call back again to turn on. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to do so. So what the CIA can do is they can latch into that, and even when the TV is off, they can still listen to the microphone that's in the television.
He said when we turned around, it was standing behind us. That thing which was down there was already behind us. And when we turned around to run, there was a reptile alien standing behind us. He said this thing was at least 7 to 7.5 foot, maybe 8 foot tall.
I take a bit of a risk in doing this every time I do it, and we've been living this for about 4 years, but it has to be done because this is so important what we're up against in this country.
According to WikiLeaks, the CIA explored the possibility of hacking into the software of modern cars.
It can be accessed from outside and perhaps taken control of. And this can let you do a whole lot of things, from playing the music to taking control of the car entirely and crashing it if you want to assassinate somebody.
We created, trained, and funded death squads like the Treasury Police in El Salvador. And we've assassinated world leaders, including the United States President in 1963.
Had a reptile male man's head, was very muscular, looked like a human body on the arm.
I give this speech to any group that will take the risk to do it. Some do and some don't. The mainstream media has avoided this. There are a lot of sectors that don't want this information becoming public.